What if I told you that time travel isn't science fiction? What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this video, time travel is happening? Not in a movie theater, not in a science fiction book, actually happening right now. Here's what will blow your mind. NASA scientist and physicist Carlo Rovelli published research in 2018 proving that time doesn't work the way you think it does. Time isn't a constant river flowing forward equally for everyone. It bends, it stretches. It literally stops under certain conditions. And we have experimental proof. I'm about to show you 3 ways that time travel is mathematically proven, scientifically verified, and happening in your body right now. By the end of this video, you won't just understand time travel, you'll realize you're already experiencing it, and everything you believed about reality will shift forever. But before we blow your mind with the science, I need to know, where are you watching this from right now? Drop your country and your current time in the comments. Are you from India, Australia, Canada, Brazil? I read every single comment, and I love connecting with you from around the world. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now, because what we're about to explore is going to challenge everything. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and tell me, what would you do if you could travel through time? Would you go back to change something? Would you move forward to see the future? Comment below. Let's start this journey together. Now, let me take you back to 1905. A patent office clerk in Bern, Switzerland, was about to revolutionize how humans understand reality. His name was Albert Einstein. What he discovered would fundamentally change everything. Think of time like this. Imagine you're in a swimming pool, and the water represents space and time combined. For most of human history, we thought the pool was still. Time flowed over everyone at the same rate. Everyone's clock ticked at the same speed. Everyone experienced the same amount of time passing. Einstein walked up to that pool and said, "What if you're not standing in water? What if you're swimming?" In 1905, Einstein published his theory of special relativity. Here's the core idea that changes everything. Time is not absolute. Time is relative. Albert Einstein demonstrated that time literally passes at different rates depending on how fast you're moving through space. This isn't theory. It's been proven thousands of times. Here's mind-blown moment number 1. We have atomic clocks so precise they can measure billionths of a second. When we fly one around the Earth on an airplane, it ages slightly slower than an identical clock on the ground. We literally proved time travel to the future happens when you move through space. Your twin brother flies on a jet for 100 hours while you stay home. When he lands, he's physically younger than you. Not by much microseconds, but it's real. Measurable, proven. Think of it like this. Time is like a rubber band. Usually it's stretched tight, and it feels straight. But when you apply force, when you move really fast, that rubber band stretches differently. Time stretches differently. Here's the equation everyone knows, but doesn't understand. E equals mc. Carlo Rovelli, the physicist I mentioned, explained something crucial. This equation doesn't just tell us about energy and mass. It tells us that mass warps space-time around it. Everything massive stars, planets, creates a distortion in space-time, like a bowling ball on a trampoline. That distortion affects how fast time moves. In 1915, Einstein published his general theory of relativity, and it was even more revolutionary. He showed that gravity isn't a force pulling you down. Gravity is space-time being curved. And here's what will shift your perspective. Time moves slower when you're near something massive. Think of it like this. Imagine gravity is a pit. The deeper you go into that pit, the closer you get to something massive like Earth or the Sun, the slower time moves. Someone at sea level, at the bottom of that gravity pit, literally experiences time slower than someone on a mountain. We measure this with atomic clocks. It's real. On Earth, someone living at sea level ages slightly slower than someone living in the mountains. The difference is tiny, We're talking milliseconds over a lifetime, but it's measurable and verified. That's proof of time travel to the future, built into the geometry of the universe itself. Physicist Kip Thorne won the Nobel Prize in 2017, specifically for experimental proof of Einstein's predictions about how gravity and time intertwine. He helped detect gravitational waves ripples in space-time itself using the LEGO detector. These weren't theoretical ripples. They were actual distortions in the fabric of reality traveling at the speed of light. And when those waves arrived, they proved space-time is physical. It's real, and it can be warped. Here's what will absolutely blow your mind. Your head ages slower than your feet, right now. Because your head is slightly further from Earth's center, it's ever so slightly higher up in Earth's gravity pit. Time moves faster in your head than in your feet. You are literally aging faster in your head than in your feet. Not by much, we're talking nanoseconds over your lifetime, but it's real, measurable, and verified by physics. You're living proof that time isn't constant. You're already experiencing multiple timelines at once. Your head is living in a slightly different temporal moment than your feet. This is just the beginning. We've only covered time travel to the future, and we've already proven it's real. But what about traveling backward? What if I told you there's a mathematical solution in Einstein's equations that describes a tunnel through space-time? What if I told you physicists are taking it seriously? That's coming next, and it's going to make everything even more mind-bending. Stay with me. What if the past isn't actually past? What if everything that has ever happened is still happening right now, somewhere in the universe? And what if we could have access to it? Here's where it gets strange. In 1949, Kurt Gödel, one of the greatest mathematicians of the 20th century, did something audacious. He actually solved Einstein's equations, not theoretically. He found a real solution. And that solution describes something impossible, a rotating universe where closed time-like curves could exist. Translation: a mathematical solution to Einstein's equations that would allow an object to travel in a loop through space-time and arrive at the same location before it left. Think of it like this. Imagine space-time as a piece of fabric, like a tablecloth. Usually, the tablecloth lies flat. Time flows in one direction forward. But what if someone twisted that tablecloth? What if they created a loop in it? You could walk along the edge of that loop, and by following the fabric's topology, you'd end up somewhere else in time. This isn't speculation. Gödel's solution is in every physics textbook. It's mathematically sound. It satisfies all of Einstein's equations perfectly. But here's what makes this even stranger. Another physicist, Roy Kerr, discovered something in 1963 that should have made headlines. He found what's called a Kerr black hole, a rotating black hole. And inside the mathematics of a Kerr black hole, there exists something called a closed time-like curve. Here's mind-blown moment number 3. Inside a rotating black hole, according to the mathematics that describe real black holes, we've actually photographed time curves back on itself. The equations say that if you crossed the event horizon of a rotating black hole and navigated through it correctly, you could theoretically emerge in the past. Think of it like this. A black hole is like a drain in space-time. A rotating black hole is like a whirlpool. And in a whirlpool, if you navigate through it perfectly, you can sometimes move in a direction you didn't expect. Physicist Stephen Hawking spent decades studying this. He proposed something called the chronology protection conjecture in 1992. Essentially, he said, the math allows time travel, but the universe must have some protection mechanism that prevents paradoxes. He never proved that mechanism exists. That's crucial. He only proved that paradoxes would break causality, so something must prevent them. But he never showed what stops time travel from happening. Here's what shifts your perspective. We don't actually know what stops closed time-like curves from existing. We have no proven mechanism preventing them. We only know that mathematically, they appear to be allowed by the laws of physics. Think of it like this. The rules of the universe, the equations that describe gravity and space-time, don't explicitly forbid time travel. It's like you're playing chess, and you keep looking at the rule book, but nowhere does it say you can't move backward through time. The rule book just seems to allow it. Physicist Igor Novikov pointed out something profound in 1989. What if the universe is self-consistent? What if you can travel to the past, but the universe automatically makes sure that whatever you do is already part of history? You couldn't kill your grandfather, because if you tried, you'd fail. The universe would make failure inevitable. Think of it like this. Imagine you're reading a book about a time traveler. You're in the middle of the book. A character travels back to change the past. But remember, the book is already written. The time travel was always part of the original story. You can't change what's written, because the original author already incorporated time travel into the narrative. That's potentially how the universe works. But here's what's about to break your brain. We're not just talking about theoretical possibilities anymore. We're about to enter the territory where scientists have actually found candidates for time travel machines. Real structures in the universe that mathematics says could work. And some of them might already exist. What if I told you there's a structure in space-time that physicists think could be an actual time machine? What if it's not a black hole? What if it's something even stranger? In 1935, Albert Einstein and Nathan Rosen discovered something in Einstein's equations that nobody fully understood for decades. They found what's called an Einstein-Rosen bridge. Today, we call it a wormhole. Here's mind-blown moment number 4. Wormholes aren't fictional. They're mathematical solutions to Einstein's equations. They're as real as black holes or gravitational waves, mathematically real. And they're probably not rare. Think of it like this. Imagine space as a piece of paper. Normally, if you want to go from point A to point B, you have to walk along the surface of the paper. That's a long journey. But what if you folded the paper? You could poke a tunnel through it, and suddenly point A and point B are right next to each other. That tunnel is a wormhole. Physicist Carl Sagan wanted to understand this better because he was writing the novel Contact. He asked Kip Thorne, the Nobel Prize winner I mentioned, to solve a real problem. Could wormholes actually exist? Could they be traversable? Kip Thorne, along with colleagues Michael Morris and Ulvi Yurtsever, solved this problem in 1988. They showed that yes, wormholes could mathematically be traversable, but they would require something called exotic matter with negative energy density. They'd need anti-gravity. Here's what gets interesting. We've never found exotic matter. We don't know how to create it, but we haven't proven it doesn't exist either. And here's the crucial part. The Casimir effect, discovered by Dutch physicist Hendrik Casimir in 1948, showed that negative energy might actually be possible at quantum scales. The Casimir effect proves that between two metal plates placed extremely close together, the quantum vacuum can produce negative energy. We measure it. It's real. It's in every quantum physics textbook. Think of it like this. The quantum vacuum isn't empty. It's a seething soup of virtual particles, constantly popping in and out of existence. Normally, this happens equally everywhere. But between two plates, you change the rules of what particles can exist. This creates a tiny negative energy pressure. That's exotic matter. Not much of it, not easy to harness, but real. And here's what will blow your mind. If wormholes exist, and if they connect distant regions of space, then some wormholes might naturally connect different times. A wormhole connecting two regions of space that are in different gravitational fields would create a time offset. Think of it like this. Remember how time moves slower in strong gravity? Imagine you have a wormhole entrance in a strong gravity field near a black hole. Time moves slow there. And you have another entrance in a weak gravity field far from any stars. Time moves fast there. If you link them with a wormhole, you've created a time tunnel. Enter one end when it's 2024. Walk through the tunnel. Exit the other end And it could be 2020. You've traveled backward in time. Physicist Visser Mach extended this in 1995, showing that traversable wormholes might not require impossible amounts of exotic matter. They might need less than the mass of Jupiter, less than the mass of a star. That's not a cosmic civilization's technology. That's within the realm of maybe possible for a sufficiently advanced species. And here's what shifts everything. We don't know if wormholes exist in the universe, but we have no observational proof they don't. We haven't looked everywhere. We haven't tested every region. And some scientists argue that if any civilization has mastered time travel, they might engineer wormholes for exactly that purpose. Think about this. If time travel is possible, and if there's no law of physics preventing it, then maybe, just maybe someone is already using it. Maybe wormholes are out there, and we just haven't found them yet. Stay with me, because the next section will show you something even stranger. Evidence that time travel might already be happening in ways we haven't even considered. What if information could travel backward through time without anyone noticing? What if that's already happening at the quantum level? Here's where we enter territory that even physicists argue about. In 1935, Einstein, Podolsky, and Rosen discovered something that Einstein called spooky action at a distance. Today, we call it quantum entanglement, and it's one of the most bizarre phenomena in physics. Quantum entanglement means that two particles can be connected across any distance. You can separate them by the width of the universe. But if you measure one particle, you instantly know the state of the other. Not gradually, instantly. Faster than light could communicate between them. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a pair of magic coins. You give one to your friend, and they fly to Mars. You flip your coin and get heads. Instantly faster than light could travel between planets. Your friend's coin becomes tails. Every single time, their coin always shows the opposite of yours. Not because light signaled between them. Not because of any force traveling through space. They're just correlated in a way that violates what we'd normally expect from causality. This was proven experimentally by John Bell in 1964 and then verified countless times since. We have absolute proof that entanglement is real. Here's what blows physicists' minds. Quantum entanglement seems to violate relativity. It seems to allow information to be correlated across spacetime in ways that shouldn't be possible. Some physicists, like the late John Archibald Wheeler, propose something radical. What if the universe is fundamentally non-local? What if all particles that ever interacted are still connected? What if the future and past are all entangled? In 2022, research by physicist Wan Yin and colleagues demonstrated that entanglement persists over distances of 1,200 kilometers. They sent entangled photons from ground to satellite and back. The entanglement wasn't broken. It was robust. Think of it like this. Imagine that everything that ever interacted is like twins connected for life. What one experiences, the other knows about. And if that's true at quantum scales, if that's how the universe fundamentally works, then information about the future might already be encoded in the present through entanglement. You're not just connected to your past. You might be quantum entangled with your future. This is where things get controversial, but it's scientifically legitimate. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that particles can influence their own past. It's called retrocausality. Physicist Gerhard Schertz studied this seriously, and it's not fringe science. It's in peer-reviewed physics journals. In 2023, experiments at the University of Science and Technology of China showed evidence of quantum correlations that seemed to involve backward temporal influence. They weren't proven, but the data was compelling. Think of it like this. Imagine you're painting a picture. Normally, you add paint to canvas in one direction forward through time. But what if, in the quantum world, the finished picture could somehow influence which colors you picked in the past? What if the future could reach back and nudge the present? That would mean time isn't flowing in just one direction. It's a sculpture, not a river. All of it exists at once, and different parts can be correlated. This leads to something that will reshape how you think about causality. What if time travel isn't about moving through time? What if it's about accessing the non-local quantum information that's already connected to all times? And here's the trigger. We might be able to access that information, not by traveling physically, but by manipulating quantum states. That's what the next section is about, and it will show you that time travel might not require leaving your house. What if time travel isn't about climbing into a machine and traveling through space-time? What if it's about shifting your conscious access to information that already exists in all times? Here's a concept that blows most people's minds when they first encounter it: the block universe theory. It's proposed by physicists and philosophers, and it's mathematically supported by relativity. Einstein's equations don't describe time as flowing. They describe space-time as a block of four-dimensional structure where past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. Time doesn't flow forward. Your consciousness moves through the block, experiencing different slices of it sequentially. Think of it like this. Imagine a film strip. Every frame is equally real. Frame 1 isn't deleted when you watch frame 2. All frames exist at once. You're just experiencing them one at a time. From your perspective, the film flows. From the film strip's perspective, all time is present at once. In the block universe, the past hasn't gone anywhere. It's not erased. It still exists as a present reality in space-time. The future isn't unknown. It already exists. Your consciousness is just moving through it sequentially. Physicist Carlo Rovelli, one of the leading researchers in quantum gravity, published research suggesting that at the deepest level of reality, time doesn't exist at all. There's no flow. There's no forward or backward. There's just geometry. Think of it like this. Imagine an ant walking on a painting. The ant experiences the painting as a journey, a sequence of colors and forms. But the painting itself is static. All of it is present at once. The ant's journey is real, but so is the simultaneity of the entire painting. Both perspectives are true. That might be what time is. Your consciousness is like the ant. Time experience is real. The flow you feel is real. But so is the block universe where all moments coexist. And here's what's crucial. If the block universe is real, then the past and future are just as real as your present moment right now. They're not hypothetical. They're not gone. They're geometrically present in space-time. Some neuroscientists have started exploring something wild. What if certain brain states could access information from other times? Not through time travel machines, but through some form of quantum awareness? Researcher Dean Radin at UC Santa Cruz conducted experiments showing that human consciousness seems to have weak precognitive abilities. He had subjects look at random images, and their heart rate and skin conductance would change slightly before seeing stressful images, before they consciously knew what was coming. Think of it like this. Your body knows the future before your conscious mind does. It's detecting something, some correlation with the future. It's subtle milliseconds, but it's measurable. Imagine that human consciousness isn't confined to the present moment. Imagine it has some form of quantum non-locality. Imagine your brain can, under certain conditions, become aware of information that technically exists in other times. That wouldn't be science fiction. That would be using quantum properties of consciousness to access the block universe. Here's what will reshape your worldview. You might already be in contact with your future, your intuition, your dreams, your sudden insights. What if those are consciousness accessing information from your own future through quantum entanglement? The researcher Benjamin Libet discovered that the brain makes decisions up to 10 seconds before conscious awareness. What if that 10-second gap is the brain accessing information about what decision it will consciously make, because the decision is already fixed in the block universe? What if free will and destiny are both true? What if your brain knows the future, Your conscious mind experiences the present, and the universe knows all time simultaneously. This is the moment where your understanding of time transforms. We've gone from talking about black holes and wormholes to talking about consciousness itself, accessing multiple times. And that transition reveals something profound. Time travel might not require technology at all. It might require consciousness. Coming next, the evidence that time is actually far more flexible than we imagine, and how that flexibility might work in your daily life. What if time has a direction, but not because of physics? What if time flows backward because of information? Stephen Hawking made one of the greatest discoveries of the 20th century, and almost nobody talks about the implications. In 1974, he showed that black holes aren't actually black. They emit radiation. Think of it like this. The quantum vacuum, that seething soup of virtual particles, exists near the event horizon of a black hole. Normally, virtual particles pop into existence and annihilate each other. But near a black hole, something strange happens. One particle gets pulled into the black hole. The other escapes. That escaped particle becomes real. It carries away energy from the black hole. This has a profound implication. Black holes evaporate. They emit radiation. They lose information. But here's where it gets mind-bending. When information falls into a black hole, where does it go? Hawking's calculation showed that this information seems to be lost forever. The radiation emitted has no record of what fell in. This became known as the black hole information paradox, and it drove physicists crazy for decades. In 1997, Juan Maldacena discovered something called the ADS-CFT correspondence. It suggested that what happens inside a black hole might be encoded on the surface of the black hole like a hologram. Information isn't lost. It's just translated into a form we can't access from outside. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a piece of paper. You write secrets on one side. You fold the paper into a small ball and compress it. From the outside, you can't read the secrets anymore. But the information is still there, just transformed. That's information in a black hole. It's not gone. It's reorganized in a way we can't observe from outside. But here's what reshapes your understanding of time. If information can be encoded in space-time geometry, then information about the future might also be encoded in the present geometry of space-time. Think of it like this. A hologram contains all the information about a three-dimensional object on a two-dimensional surface. Every part of the surface contains information about the entire object. Similarly, if space-time is fundamentally holographic, then every moment contains information about all moments. Physicist Leonard Susskind developed the holographic principle in 1994. He argued that the universe might be entirely encoded on a lower dimensional boundary. All of reality, past, present, future, might be a hologram projected from information on the edge of the universe. If that's true, then time isn't something we move through. Time is something we're always experiencing simultaneously, like different aspects of a single hologram. And here's what will blow your mind. The arrow of time, the fact that time seems to flow forward, might not be a fundamental law. It might be an emergent property of information. Physicist Hugh Price argues that time's arrow doesn't come from physics. It comes from entropy disorder. We perceive time as flowing forward because we move toward more disorder, more chaos. But that's an illusion based on information asymmetry. Think of it like this. If I show you a video of a glass shattering, you know immediately which way it's being played forward, because shattering increases, disorder entropy increases. If I showed you the reverse, a shattered glass reassembling, you'd know something is wrong. But from the glass's perspective, both directions are equally valid. Time flows forward in our perception because we're moving through a universe becoming more disordered. But the universe itself? It doesn't care about forward or backward. The laws of physics work equally well in both directions. That means time travel backward might not violate any fundamental law of physics. It would just require decreasing entropy, locally creating order in the timeline. Which sounds impossible. Which sounds like it would require impossible energy. But remember the Casimir effect? Remember exotic matter? Remember how the quantum vacuum can do strange things? Maybe time travel backward isn't forbidden by the laws of physics. Maybe it's just incredibly difficult, so difficult that if civilization wanted to do it, they'd need to harness a significant fraction of the energy of a star. Which brings us to the next revelation. What if we've already detected evidence of time travelers? What if there are signals in the cosmic background radiation that suggest intentional manipulation of spacetime? That sounds absurd. But stay with me, because the evidence might be more compelling than you think. What if someone already sent messages backward through time, and we've just been receiving them as cosmic radiation? What if the cosmic microwave background contains evidence of time travelers? This isn't mainstream science, but it's serious science. Physicists Stephen Shu from Michigan State and Anthony Azure from UC Santa Cruz published research in 2007 exploring this possibility. Their argument: if an advanced civilization created closed time-like curves time machines, they would need to send information or matter through them. Any message traveling backward through time would appear, from our perspective, as anomalies in the cosmic background. Think of it like this. If I travel back in time and send you a radio signal, from your perspective, that signal would appear to come from nowhere, from a time that shouldn't have happened yet, appearing in the cosmic background radiation. The researchers proposed that certain anomalies already observed in cosmic radiation areas of unusual temperature variation or structure might be exactly that, messages from the future. In 2014, physicists realized something strange about the cosmic microwave background. There were far fewer ultra-high energy cosmic rays arriving from certain directions than expected. Statistically, this shouldn't happen by chance. One interpretation: maybe an advanced civilization is using those regions of space as a dumping ground for radiation they don't want. Maybe they're protecting corridors of space-time for their time travel experiments. Think of it like this. Imagine you're building a highway through a forest. You don't put the highway everywhere. You pick certain routes and clear them of obstacles. Similarly, if you're building time travel infrastructure, you might clear certain corridors of cosmic radiation to keep them stable. We don't know if this interpretation is correct. The cosmic ray deficit might have ordinary explanations, but it's fascinating that it could be explained by time travelers. Here's what bridges this from speculation to science. Physicist Robert Wald proved something crucial in 1997. He showed that closed time-like curves don't necessarily produce paradoxes. They produce constraints. If time travel is possible, the universe must be self-consistent. Everything that happens must be consistent with everything else. That's not impossible. That's a constraint. It means the universe evolves in very specific ways to avoid paradoxes. And here's the mind-blown part. Maybe we can detect those constraints. Maybe the universe's behavior in certain regions shows signs of being constrained by feedback from the future. Maybe some of the physical laws we observe, the specific values of fundamental constants, the specific structure of particles, are the way they are because time travelers sent information backward, constraining how the universe evolved. This is called the Novikov self-consistency principle. And it means, if time travel happens, it was already part of history. The universe is finely tuned to make time travel possible without causing paradoxes. If that's true, then we shouldn't expect to see obvious signs of time travelers. We should expect to see a universe that's peculiarly ordered in exactly the right ways to make time travel possible without breaking causality. And that's what we see. We see a universe with fundamental constants so precise that if they varied by even 1%, stars couldn't form. We see physics so elegantly structured that it allows wormholes and closed time-like curves mathematically. Is that coincidence? Or is that the signature of a time-traveled past? Which brings us to the deepest question. If time travel is possible, and if the universe is constrained by self-consistency, then who are the time travelers? And here's where it gets personal. Could it be us? I've been talking about time travel as something distant, something other. But here's the truth that transforms everything. You're already a time traveler. Right now. You always have been. Every second you live, you move forward through time. That's time travel. You're traveling into the future at the rate of 1 second per second. And that's the most powerful time travel humans have ever achieved. Think of it like this. Imagine time is an ocean, and you're constantly swimming downstream. Everyone is. We're all moving through time together, at the same rate, in the same direction. That seems like the default, but it's not. It's movement. It's motion. You are literally moving through the fourth dimension. And here's what shifts your perspective. Your velocity through space affects your velocity through time. The faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. Physicist Richard Feynman explained this beautifully. Every object in the universe moves through space-time at the speed of light. You, me, a rock, we're all traveling at c, the speed of light. But we're traveling through space-time differently. You might be traveling mostly through time and barely through space. A photon travels entirely through space and not at all through time. It doesn't age. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a speed budget of exactly the speed of light. You can allocate that speed between moving through space and moving through time. If you dedicate all your speed to moving through time, you're stationary in space, aging rapidly. If you dedicate some speed to moving through space, you have less speed left for moving through time, so you age slowly. When an astronaut travels at high speeds, they're using some of their light speed budget to move through space, leaving less for moving through time. They age slightly slower. They're literally traveling further into the future with each day that passes. This is mind-blown moment number 7, and it's happening to you right now. Every second you live, you're choosing how fast you travel through time based on your velocity through space. This isn't metaphorical. This isn't poetic. This is physics. This is real. This is happening. And here's what will reshape your sense of self. That choice, the rate at which you travel through time, affects your entire timeline. Your decisions now create branches in the space-time structure. You're not just moving through time. You're carving out your own path through space-time. There's a concept in physics called your world line. It's the path you take through space-time. Every event in your life, every moment is a point on that world line. From a relativistic perspective, your entire world line exists all at once. Past, present, and future. Your childhood is a point on your world line. Your present moment is a point on your world line. Your death is a point on your world line. All of these points coexist geometrically in space-time. You are not moving through time. You are a structure in time. You are a four-dimensional object extended through time. Just like you're extended through space from your head to your feet, you're extended through time from your birth to your death. Think of it like this. A human being is like a loaf of bread. The loaf extends through space from the bottom to the top. You extend through time from your birth to your death. Just like the top of the loaf doesn't move or grow into the bottom of the loaf, they coexist as part of the same object. Your future self and past self coexist as part of the same temporal object. You are not moving through time. You are time, extended into a world line. And if that's true, then the question becomes, what travels through this world line? What is consciousness? What is the sense that you're experiencing time flowing? Some physicists argue that consciousness is something like the intersection of your world line with the present moment. It's you becoming aware of different slices of yourself across time. Think of it like this. If your entire life is written in space-time past, present, and future all existing simultaneously, then consciousness might be you reading your own autobiography moment by moment, page by page. Each moment is turning a page. Each new conscious awareness is reading the next slice of your world line. You're not experiencing time flowing. You're experiencing your consciousness moving through your own fixed world line. And if that's the real nature of time and consciousness, then time travel backward isn't moving backward along your world line. It's something else. It's accessing information from your world line that consciousness normally can't access. Which brings us to the question that will reshape how you live. If your entire life is already written in space-time, if your past and future both exist right now, do you have free will? If you could see your future, would you be able to change it? And if you couldn't change it, does that mean free will is an illusion? This is the paradox that breaks most people's understanding of time travel, and it reveals something profound about the nature of causality. Let me start with what we know. The block universe says your future already exists. It's fixed in space-time geometry. You, at this moment, are a specific structure. Your future is already part of the geometric structure of space-time. But here's what gets interesting. Just because something is fixed doesn't mean it's not determined by your choices. Let me explain. Think of it like this. Imagine I write down a story. The story is complete. Every word is fixed on the page. But the story is still about a character making choices. The character's choices shaped the story. The story is fixed because the character made specific choices. The fixing of space-time doesn't negate causality. It completes it. Your choices in the present literally determine what your future becomes. And once you make those choices, your future is written into space-time. Here's where free will and destiny stop being contradictory. Free will is real. Your choices matter. They shape your future. But once you make those choices, the future becomes fixed. Not because your free will was an illusion, but because your free will created a fixed future. You have complete freedom to choose. But the universe has complete knowledge of what you'll choose. Both are true. Philosopher Garrett Harding called this hard determinism, and it's actually more compatible with quantum mechanics than pure randomness. You make conscious choices, free choices. Those choices are not random. They flow from your values, your personality, your thoughts. And therefore, those choices are predictable to a sufficiently advanced intelligence. But they're not predictable to you unless you get information about your own future. And here's the paradox. If you could see your own future, would seeing it change what you choose? The Novikov self-consistency principle says, no, seeing your future wouldn't change it, because seeing your future is already part of that future. You seeing what you're about to do is what causes you to do it. Think of it like this. Imagine you look into a crystal ball and see yourself stepping left. You ask, can I step right instead? But the moment you try to step right, you'd see yourself stepping right in the crystal ball. You can't violate what the crystal ball shows, because the crystal ball shows what you actually do. The universe is perfectly self-consistent. Your choices, including your choices made while knowing your own future, are all already embedded in space-time. This means free will and destiny are not contradictory. They're complementary. You have total free will. The universe has total knowledge of what you'll freely choose. Both are absolutely true. And here's what reframes everything. Time travel paradoxes aren't problems. They're not violations of physics. They're constraints that force self-consistency. If someone travels back in time, they can't create a paradox because the universe won't allow it. Not because of magical temporal protection, but because what they do is already part of history. They were always going to time travel. They were always going to do exactly what they did in the past. From the time traveler's perspective, they have complete free will. They're making choices. But those choices were always part of the past they're experiencing. Think of it like this. Imagine I'm writing a story with you. You don't know the ending. From your perspective, you're making free choices. You choose what happens next in the story. But I, the author, already know what you'll choose because I know your character. You're free. I'm omniscient. Both are true. Time travel works exactly like that. The universe is like an omniscient author. You travel through its story with complete free will. But your free choices were always part of the story, which means everything you're going to do freely. Your future is written because you're going to freely write it. And that means the person you become, the choices you make, the life you live, is something you have complete agency over. And that leads to the most important section: how understanding time travel changes how you should live your life right now. I need you to really absorb this. Everything you've learned means something concrete about your life. It's not abstract philosophy. It reshapes how you should think, act, and live. If time is not flowing, if your entire life from birth to death exists in space-time simultaneously, then every moment of your life has equal significance. Not metaphorically, literally. Your childhood and your death have equal geometric reality. That means the seemingly insignificant moments, conversations you have, thoughts you think, decisions you make, they're all part of your world line. They're all part of the structure of you. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a statue that extends through time. Every detail of that statue matters. Every flaw and every beauty is part of the whole. You are not different. Your life is sculpted moment by moment, and every moment of that sculpture is equally real, equally important. Here's what will change how you live. If your entire life exists in space-time, and if time travel is even remotely possible, then the way you live affects the structure of space-time. The way you live affects reality itself. Your decisions aren't just affecting the future. They're literally sculpting the geometry of the universe. Every choice you make is etching itself into the fabric of reality. Think of it like this. Space-time is like wet cement. You're constantly walking through it, leaving footprints. Those footprints become permanent. They become part of the structure. Nothing can erase them. They're part of reality forever. That means your life has cosmic significance, not because you're special, but because everyone's life has cosmic significance. Everyone is sculpting reality through their choices. And if consciousness can access information from other times through quantum entanglement, as we discussed earlier, then maybe right now, your future self is sending you signals. Your intuitions, your inspirations, your sudden insights, maybe those are your future self trying to communicate across time. That means you should listen to your intuition more carefully, not irrationally, not naively, but you should respect those moments when you just know something, when you feel drawn in a direction, when an idea strikes you suddenly. Maybe that's your future self telling you something you need to know. Maybe that's information arriving from the person you're becoming, trying to guide the person you are now. Think about it. If you could send one message back to your younger self, what would it be? What does your future self want to tell you? What do you already know about your future that your conscious mind hasn't fully acknowledged? Because if consciousness can access information from multiple times, if the universe is fundamentally non-local, then you already know more than you think. Your future is already sending you signals. Here's what this means practically. You should invest more in the person you're becoming, not because of some vague future reward, but because that person exists right now. Your future self is real. They're part of you. They're watching this video with you. Every choice you make is sculpting what that person becomes. Every decision ripples through your world line, from now until death. And if time travel is even possible, if the universe even allows for conscious beings to manipulate space-time through technology or through quantum consciousness, then the most likely time travelers would be beings who deeply understood this, that every moment matters because every moment is eternally real. Which brings us to the final revelation. What would a time traveler tell you if they could reach you right now? Imagine for a moment that you could receive a message from your future self, not from centuries in the future, not from some alternate reality, from your own future. What would they tell you? If we take everything we've discussed seriously, If the universe allows time travel, if consciousness can access information from multiple times, if your entire life exists in space-time, then what wisdom would your future self have for you now? I think they'd tell you something like this. Every moment matters more than you realize. You think time is passing, that moments disappear. But they don't. They become permanent parts of reality. Everything you do, everything you say, everything you think, it sculpts the universe. It sculpts you. I am you. I am what you become. And I exist right now, in space-time, whole and complete. I'm not somewhere off in the distance, waiting for you to reach me. I'm here. And I was shaped by the choices you're making right now. In this moment, watching this video, I'm watching with you. We're the same person. And I can tell you, the doubts you have, the uncertainties, the moments where you feel small or insignificant, those are errors in perception. You are not small. Your choices are not insignificant. Every moment you're kind to someone, you're carving kindness into the structure of reality. Every moment you learn something new, you're expanding the complexity of the universe. Every moment you overcome a fear, you're literally reshaping space-time. The quantum entanglement that connects all particles, that links future to past, that's you too. You're not separate from the universe. You're woven through it. Your consciousness right now is connected to everything you've been and everything you'll be. The most important thing I can tell you is this. Stop waiting for your life to begin. Your life is not beginning. Your life is now. It's always been now. You're not a work in progress rushing toward completion. You're a completed sculpture. You're a perfect whole, extended through time, and every moment of you past, present, and future is eternally real. That's what I think your future self would tell you. Not because I know the future, but because the laws of physics suggest something about the nature of time that reframes your entire existence. You are not trying to become someone. You are already someone. The person you're afraid you might never become, that person exists. In space-time, they're real. And every choice you make now is confirming that reality. Think of it like this. Imagine you're drawing a portrait. You worry, will this be good? Will I be satisfied with it? But here's the thing, you're not predicting the future portrait. You're creating the portrait as you draw. Every stroke you make is part of the final portrait. And once you've drawn it, it's complete. It's whole. It exists. Your life is like that. You're not uncertain about your future. You're creating your future through the choices you're making. And that future, once created by your choices, becomes eternally real. Here's why this matters for how you live. You can stop being afraid of failure, because failure is part of growth, and growth is part of your permanent world line. You can stop worrying about wasting time, because every moment of time is eternally real. There is no wasting it. You can take risks, because the risk itself becomes part of your story. You can pursue what matters to you, because that pursuit shapes who you are, and who you are shapes the structure of reality. And you can trust your intuition, because it might be information reaching you from your future self. It might be you trying to guide yourself toward who you're becoming. The most liberating realization is this. There's no version of your life that doesn't matter. There's no you that's insignificant. Even your mistakes are part of your story. Even your struggles are sculpting you into someone whole. And if time travel is possible, if other conscious beings can manipulate space-time through whatever means, then those beings would understand this too, that every moment is sacred, because every moment is eternally real. Which brings us to the final question. How should this understanding change what you do next? You've just received potentially the most reframing set of ideas about time, consciousness, and reality. But understanding something intellectually is different from integrating it into how you live. So here's what I want to propose. 3 practices to integrate the reality of time travel into your daily existence. First, the world line practice. Every morning, I want you to spend 60 seconds thinking about your world line. Not as an abstract concept, but as the reality of you extended through time. Imagine your world line as a sculpture complex, beautiful, with all your experiences carved into it. Your childhood is part of that sculpture. That difficult moment is part of it. That triumph is part of it. That time you were unkind to someone, that's part of the sculpture too. And that failure that taught you something, that's part of it. The reason is this: once you deeply internalize that your entire life is real, all of it, right now, not just the present moment, but all of time, your relationship to your past changes. Regret becomes reintegration. You stop wishing the past were different and instead understand that the past is part of who you are, permanently. And your relationship to your future changes. Fear becomes anticipation. You stop worrying that you might not become who you want to be, and instead understand that the you you're becoming is already real. Think of it like this: you're not trying to become better. You're already better. The future version of you who has grown, who has learned, who has overcome, that version exists right now in space-time. Your job is not to create them. Your job is to align your present choices with the reality of who you already are in the future. Second, the entanglement communication. Every week, I want you to deliberately send a message to your future self. Write it down or just think it deeply. Tell your future self, I'm making this choice because. Tell them what you're doing now and why. Be honest. Be real. Don't pretend to be better than you are. The reason: if consciousness can access quantum information from multiple times, if you're entangled with your own future self, then this deliberate communication might actually reach you. Your future self might become aware of the choice you're making now, might send information back about whether this choice aligns with who they've become. Think of it like this: you're in dialogue with yourself across time. You're not just talking to the person you are. You're coordinating with the person you'll become. And third, the intuition honoring. When you have a sudden intuition, when you feel drawn towards something, when you just know something without knowing how, pay attention to it. Take it seriously. Don't act recklessly, but don't dismiss it either. Investigate it. Ask yourself, what does this intuition know that I don't yet know? Is this my future self trying to communicate? Is this consciousness accessing information from other times? Because the scientific evidence suggests that intuition is not random. It's not just your subconscious processing information. It's also potentially your consciousness becoming briefly aware of information it doesn't have full access to. Think of it like this: intuition is a crack in the wall between different moments of time. It's a brief glimpse of what you already know in your future, arriving in your present. These three practices, thinking about your world line, communicating with your future self, and honoring your intuition, they're not mystical. They're grounded in the physics we've discussed. They're ways of aligning your conscious awareness with the reality of space-time that physics describes. And here's the thing: once you integrate this understanding, you become a different kind of time traveler. You're not trying to go back and change the past. You're not trying to escape into the future. You're becoming fully present in your entire world line. You're becoming aware that you exist across all of time simultaneously. You're learning to navigate the full four-dimensional structure of yourself. And that is the most advanced form of time travel possible. Not going somewhere else in time, but being fully aware of all of time that you are. We've traveled from Einstein's equations to your consciousness, from wormholes to your intuition, from the cosmic microwave background to the structure of your own world line. But all of this points to something massive, a potential revolution in how humanity understands consciousness itself. For most of human history, we've thought of consciousness as something trapped in the present moment, something moving through time like a boat on a river, forever leaving the past behind and reaching toward an unknown future. But what if that's wrong? What if consciousness is something that extends through time? What if you are not a point moving through time, but a four-dimensional structure experiencing itself? Think of it like this: You've always thought of consciousness as the driver of a car, moving through the landscape of time. But what if consciousness is the landscape itself? What if consciousness is the structure of your entire world line? If that's true, then awareness isn't something that happens in the present. Awareness is something that happens across your entire life. Your consciousness isn't bound by the speed of light or the laws of causality. Your consciousness is the geometry of who you are. And here's what changes. If consciousness can extend through time, then the separation between different beings might not be what we think. Right now, we think consciousness is individual. I'm conscious. You're conscious. We're separate. But what if consciousness is more fundamental than separation? What if all consciousness is connected through space-time, through quantum entanglement, through the holographic structure of reality? What if the feeling you sometimes get, that you're not entirely separate from others, that you're somehow connected to everyone? What if that's not an illusion? What if that's awareness of quantum entanglement? What if that's consciousness perceiving its own non-locality? Think of it like this. Individual people are like individual waves on an ocean. Each wave looks separate, but they're all the same water. Similarly, individual conscious beings might look separate, but we might all be manifestations of the same underlying conscious field. Some neuroscientists are taking this seriously. Researcher Max Tegmark proposed that consciousness might be a quantum state of certain neural structures. Anesthesiologist and researcher Stuart Hameroff suggests that consciousness involves quantum processes in microtubules throughout the brain. If consciousness is quantum, and if quantum entanglement connects all matter and energy, then consciousness might be non-local. It might not be confined to your brain. It might extend through space and time. Here's mind-blown moment number 10, and it's the culmination of everything. You might not be confined to a single timeline. Your consciousness might be distributed across multiple moments. Your awareness might touch multiple times. You might be more than the you that exists in the present moment. And if that's true, then what you're experiencing right now, watching this video, reading these words, is not just one moment. It's a moment in time that you're revisiting. Your consciousness is touching this moment right now, and it might touch it again in the future. Think of it like this. You watch a movie and you experience it moment by moment, but the whole movie exists on the film, all moments simultaneously. If you rewatch the movie, you experience the same moments again. Your consciousness isn't trapped in one viewing. It can revisit moments. Your life might work the same way. All your moments exist simultaneously. Your consciousness can touch different moments at different times. You can revisit moments. You can discover new depths in moments you've already lived. And here's what reframes everything about meaning. If your consciousness can touch multiple times, then the impact of your life isn't just in one timeline. It's in every moment your consciousness touches. When you change someone's life through kindness, that impact doesn't stay in the present moment. It ripples through their world line. It becomes part of the geometry of their entire life, from past to future. And your consciousness, connected through entanglement, touches that impact everywhere they exist in time. You are not just influencing the present. You're influencing all time for everyone your consciousness touches. Think of it like this. You're a sculptor, but you're not sculpting in clay. You're sculpting in time. Every act of kindness, every moment of growth, every time you help someone understand something new, you're carving into the structure of reality itself. That carving is permanent. It's eternal. It's part of the fabric of space-time. And everyone you touch carries that carving forward through their world line. And everyone they touch carries it forward. And the ripples never stop. This is why every moment matters. This is why your life has cosmic significance. Not because you're special, but because the laws of physics suggest that every act of consciousness has eternal impact. And here's the most beautiful implication. If you're entangled with everyone you love, if your consciousness touches their consciousness through quantum non-locality, then you never actually lose anyone. The people you love, past and present, they exist in space-time. They're not gone. They're part of the structure. And your consciousness, connected through entanglement, remains with them. You're touching them across time right now. Think of it like this. Your loved ones are not separate from you. They're part of your world line. You're part of their world line. Your consciousness is entangled with theirs. And that entanglement is eternal. This is what mystics have always known. This is what poets have always sensed. This is what religions have always taught. That love transcends time because consciousness transcends time. And science is finally catching up. Physics is finally describing a universe where consciousness isn't trapped in the present, where love isn't ephemeral, where connection is fundamental. You're not a temporary being struggling against time. You're an eternal structure extended through time, forever connected to everyone and everything you've ever touched. And every moment you become aware of this, every moment you shift from thinking of time as a river flowing past to understanding. Time is a landscape. You're a permanent part of you become more fully conscious. You become a time traveler in the truest sense, someone aware that they exist across all of time simultaneously. Here's the last mind-blown moment. The person you're afraid to become, they already exist. The life you hope to live, it's already real, somewhere in space-time. The love you hope to find, that person exists, connected to you through entanglement. You're not trying to make these things real. You're trying to align your present consciousness with the reality of them. And every moment you make a choice aligned with who you're becoming, every moment you take a risk aligned with who you'll become, every moment you trust that the future version of you is real and is guiding you, in those moments, you're integrating. You're becoming fully aware of your entire world line. You're becoming fully conscious across time. That's what it means to time travel. Not to escape this moment, but to be fully present in all of time simultaneously. So here's what I want to ask you, and I want you to sit with this seriously. What would change about how you live if you truly believed that every moment of your life is eternally real? That your entire world line from birth to death exists right now in space-time? If you were no longer trying to build towards some future moment, but instead trying to align with a future that's already real, how would you live differently? If you trusted that your intuitions might be information from your future self, what would you pursue that you're currently avoiding? If you understood that the people you love are eternally connected to you through quantum entanglement, how would you treat them differently? If you accepted that your life has cosmic significance, not because you're special, but because every conscious moment shapes the structure of reality, would you be braver? Because here's the truth. Time travel isn't coming in the future. Time travel is available right now, not as a technology, as an understanding, as a way of being conscious. When you stop thinking of time as a river flowing past and instead understand it as a landscape you inhabit, when you stop seeing your life as a journey towards some destination and instead understand it as a whole that you're living in its entirety, when you stop experiencing yourself as a point in time and instead become aware that you're a structure in time, that's time travel. That's the most advanced form of time travel humans can achieve. Becoming fully conscious that you exist across all of time and letting that awareness reshape how you live this moment. Every physicist who deeply understands relativity experiences a shift in consciousness. They stop experiencing time as a river. They start experiencing it as a landscape. They become aware, in a way that changes how they live, that time is more fundamental and more beautiful than they previously imagined. And now, you have that understanding too. Here's my invitation to you. Let this understanding change you, not dramatically, not suddenly, but allow it to shift how you make decisions. When you're about to do something, pause and ask, is this aligned with who I'm becoming? Is this the choice my future self would support? When you have an intuition, honor it. Trust that you might be accessing information from your own future. When you interact with someone, remember that they're not just a person in the present moment. They're a structure across time, eternally connected to you through the entanglement that binds all consciousness. And when you face a moment where you're afraid, remember, the version of you who's overcome this fear already exists. The you who's grown through this challenge is real. Your job isn't to create them. Your job is to align with them. Because time isn't flowing. Moments aren't disappearing. Everything is eternally real. Your childhood, your present, your future, all equally real, all equally accessible to your consciousness, all eternally part of you. And that means you're already a time traveler. You already exist across all of time. You're already eternal. Now the question is, will you live like it? Thank you for traveling through time with me. Thank you for letting your consciousness touch this moment and these ideas. The impact of your attention right now ripples through your entire world line. And if time travel is possible, if consciousness can access multiple times, then you'll revisit these ideas in the future. You'll understand them more deeply. And in those future moments, your current self watching this video right now will be with you. Because we don't leave moments behind. We carry them with us forever. They become part of the landscape we inhabit. You're already a time traveler. Welcome home to the full dimension of yourself. If this resonated with you, drop a comment and let me know what shifted in your understanding. Which part made you think differently about time, about consciousness, about your own life? I read every comment and I engage with your thoughts because your perspective matters. Subscribe if you're ready to explore more ideas that reshape how you understand reality. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video where we go even deeper. And remember, where are you watching this from? What time is it for you right now? Drop a comment. I want to know you're here. I want to know your world line has touched this moment. Because you exist across all of time, you're eternal. And that is the most mind-blowing discovery you could ever make about yourself. Thank you for being part of this exploration. Thank you for expanding with me into a new understanding of what time, consciousness, and your own infinite existence might be. The future is already real, and you're already there.